Hello, sysfailure here. Just wishing you a happy new year for 2013. As you probably noticed, I've not really had any videos up lately. Real life things have kind of been getting in the way, so I do apologise for that. Hopefully I shall have some more up shortly. Right, well today we're looking at the first Minecraft snapshot of the new year, which is 13w01a. I will like to mention first off, if you just have a look at the frame rate, just up there next to the Minecraft title, I'm getting roughly 120 frames a second, and the view is actually on far. Previously, I'd probably be looking at about half of that, so they do seem to have improved the frame rate something chronic, which is quite unusual, as the frame rate normally gets slower and slower with each update. Now, I'm just going to run through a few of the new things. First off, we have the new hopper block, which are these. Now, if we just see these bits I'm highlighting here, you put items into these or drop them in the top, and it will pass it into whatever item it's attached to. So you can put them on the side or on top. This works on dispensers, like we have here, or chests or furnaces. Now, sadly, they're a little bit glitchy at the moment because just here they actually have an edge. The problem with this is, if I just show something there, things tend to get caught on the edge. If I do it from slightly higher up, it might go far enough over. There we go, and it goes inside. Now, if you look, it's put it into the dispenser now. If I was to put a whole stack in there, starts transferring them across. Just move that back out again. And they're there. Whee! Now you may notice this new red block here. Just let me sort that. Right, this is actually a redstone block. The block itself will actually supply power to anything that touches it. So in this case, it's touching a dispenser. There is a glitch in regards to it. As you can see, I don't seem to be able to get it back down again. So if we go over here, I'll show what I mean. Now, these can be pushed by pistons, like so. So they work fine. However, if we push up the way, it doesn't come back down until I actually destroy the block. So that needs to be fixed. Down the way, not a problem. You can also do slightly odd things such as this. And now they're locked like that until I get rid of one of them. There we go. Now this is the new daylight detector. It's about to actually activate my portal, as you can see. Now, the reason that it only activated now is it actually outputs the new type of redstone, which is analog redstone. This means that instead of one straight signal that goes up to 15 blocks, it now outputs different powers depending on, well, with the time of day. It is also affected by weather, as I will just demonstrate. So as the rain starts, you notice these ones up the end are turning off. As the daylight is now darker. Over here you will notice that as repeater running out of it just outputs the old full redstone power, no matter how much output it is. So just get rid of that rain again. And these will turn on as the sky brightens up. And back on at full power again. It's obviously midday. This does mean obviously you can get rid of those huge bulky daylight detectors that are kind of glitchy built into maps. I should know the one on my current map that I'm building keeps breaking all the time. And it also means you can set things to happen at certain times of the day, or only if, say, maybe it's midday and the sun is actually out rather than raining. Now here we have a bunch of chests. If you look very closely, the left chest here, just around there, is slightly different from the right one. And if you look behind, you will see redstone. Obviously this one's linked, that one isn't. Reason being, this is just a normal chest. But this is a trap chest. And you will notice that it actually lights up the block. If you look carefully inside the chest, there's also a red line just there. So you know that it's a trap chest. Now, sounds like a great idea for triggering redstone. However, if you go over here, you will notice it actually only triggers 1 block distance. It doesn't seem to do it down through blocks, and it won't pass through solid blocks like this either. So at the moment, you really need the redstone right next to it, which makes it kind of obvious that it's a trap, really. So hopefully they'll increase the range on that, but at least a block would help. Now these are new types of pressure plates. However, a step on them, nothing happens. Step on that one, nothing happens. They are, however, item detection pressure plates. So if I start showing items on there, and you watch the redstone, its signal is actually slowly growing. And now there, what I've got 9 on there, I think, something like that. And that's lit up the first one. If I keep showing more on, that's me lit up the second one. So it outputs more of a signal the heavier it gets. This one is slightly different. If I start showing items on it, as you can see, it's not really going all that far. However, put a couple of stacks on there, which I better mention, that's another bug. Sometimes if you put the items too quickly off the edge, it thinks you want to delete them. So let's try that again. Oops, let's stand back a bit. Now you can see there, 2 complete stacks, and I've only managed to light up the first one. So good if you want to measure a lot of items, basically. Now this over here is a new comparator block. Now what that does is, if we say turn this signal on here, which is an analog signal passing through here and lighting up this block. If I input a signal over here that's more than that one, it will turn this off. So if you see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 1 ahead. If I do that and I have a stronger signal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the 6 over here. So the output is back on. And as you can see, it continues the output to the further block. If we give equal on both, so they're both given the same, it still doesn't shut it off. But if I go one further, it does turn it off. And same again, as you can see. Goes to the third block, one more power into the B entry, and it turns off. Now, there is a bug with this at the moment. If I flick that, it's now meant to turn this signal into a full power signal, just like a repeater would, which means it should activate that. But it currently doesn't. So that's obviously something else that needs to be fixed. There are a couple of bugs like that, but early days. Now, if you want to build one of these comparators or the daylight detector, as we've got over there, you will need a new item that's called nether quartz. You actually get it out of this god awful ugly looking block. Hopefully the texture changing that, because that's kind of painful to the eye. And you get that in the nether. If you just turn around and have a look, here it is, just growing away. And just come along, collect that, and it helps you build the things. Now, I did have one final treat I want to show you. Now, unfortunately, I've only really had this working a couple of times. But the idea is, if we pop out a minecart, travel around the track, in there, break off of the cactus, it should fall into the water, down into the hopper, and back into here. And this time it hasn't worked. Couple of reasons. Sometimes it seems to hit the cactus a couple of times and break itself. Other times it will fall in the water, but it will be off to one edge and it will land on that awful lip that we talked about earlier. And other times it will actually just go straight in. Now, if that can be made to work effectively, then you can basically have a system that can pop out minecarts and put them back into storage when necessary, which would be absolutely fantastic. Anybody who's used Minecart Mania or similar will know just how great it is to be able to spawn out the carts and put them away. And this is about the closest we seem to be getting at the moment. If somebody can improve on this design, obviously do let me know. And that's about it, really. So thanks for watching that, and I shall see you next time. Bye.